Hey everyone, hope your August is going well so far.
Yes, and happy birthday to you,
Oh,
Kathy.
thank
Oh my
you.
gosh. I hope you get to celebrate better than last year. Last year.
Last year. Well, this year is going to be turning into who knows what, but
I know, exactly.
yeah.
That's what I'm a little worried about.
Yeah, all I want to do is relax and read. My favorite author, comes out with a
Of
book every
course.
year in July, Daniel Silva,
What book is
and
it this year?
The Cellist.
Ooh.
Ooh, so good.
Oh, well, I will have to read it as well.
Yes, you need to.
But that's a definite tradition I love to hear about.
Yeah,
So hopefully you get to succeed in that.
I hope so. Reading would be lovely. Reading a little wine will be a great day.
Yes,
And
perfect.
it's my
And
anniversary too, so I can't
oh,
spend the
that's
entire day.
right. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah, that's crazy.
yeah,
I like to spread out the holidays.
we like to condense them. Just get our
Yeah,
celebrations all in
yeah,
one
get them all
place.
done. Yeah. So today we have we're revisiting an episode with another favorite author of
Yeah,
ours,
T.
Jeff
Jefferson Parker.
T.
Yeah, Jeff.
Jefferson Parker.
T. Jefferson Parker is a just awesome guy. We met him at SleuthFest when he was guest of honor in 2019.
Hmm.
And we got to sit down with him and share a bottle of wine and talk about his book and I love this episode and his wife is there. We got to meet her. She was absolutely lovely.
Yeah,
Joined us for a glass of wine. So fun.
it was fun. It was fun. I think that was his first podcast. Imagine
I
that.
think it was. I think he had never done a podcast before, and
Yeah.
really, we were pretty new too at that point.
Yeah, we
So,
were too. We were all like nervous. We're nervous interviewing this great author, and
yeah,
he's like, "Oh, I'm going to be on a podcast."
that
So
was
it
pretty
was
great.
fun. It was fun.
Yeah,
But since then, he's come out with a new book. Um, then she vanished. Then she
yes,
vanished. It is so good. Um, he's a great writer. Anyway, we
yeah,
know that about him. We know how much he works on his craft, but I really love this series because it's this PI Roland Ford and it's set
Mhm.
in Southern California, kind of desert and Mexican border. So it's just fun. I
It
really
is.
liked it.
I think of his writing as kind of escapism crime fiction for some reason because it just puts you in such a different place. Like you say, I love
Yeah.
the setting. His main character's protagonist is just super cool and
Yeah.
witty, and
Yeah. I've almost we just got it this week and I've almost finished
of
reading it.
course you
So
are.
I just want to go. I want to go finish reading it right now, but
Yeah,
after
for
this
sure.
episode, after this
Okay,
episode.
there you go. Sounds great. So listen, we will put a link on our website for everyone to order the book because it's in paperback now. Chrissy just showed us if you're
Yes.
watching us on
Yeah.
YouTube. So
Yeah,
it's
to
in
save a little
paperback,
money.
super affordable. Yeah, it's a great deal.
Great, great. And now we hope you enjoy this redux of our Corks in Conversation with T. Jefferson Parker.
We are here at SleuthFest 2019, the premier mystery writers conference in South Florida, and so excited to talk to some great authors who are holding workshops and giving talks here for both new and seasoned mystery writers.
Yes, and we are so pleased to be sitting here with T. Jefferson Parker, the guest of honor here at SleuthFest.
His name is on the bags. That's
yes,
how
it's on the
important
bags. He is the author of 24 novels. He's a 3-time Edgar Award winner and a New York Times bestseller. His most recent book, Swift Vengeance, is the second novel in the Roland Ford series. Thankfully for all his fans, and us included, the third in the series, The Last Good Guy, comes out in August this year. And you mysterious foodies out there might remember that we featured his book LA Outlaws during episode 3.
I recall this.
Here's a hint, just to jog your memory, head in a jar, and that's all I'm going to say.
That's all you have to say.
You can listen to find out. Okay, so Jeff, we're so happy that you're able to share this time with us.
Well, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Sure.
Absolutely. So before we get into the conversation, as we normally do, we like to share a glass of wine with our guest. And Jeff had shared with us that he likes a Bordeaux.
Mm-hmm.
So
a cheap Bordeaux, which is what we like.
Yeah,
Everything's under $20 usually.
See, I said cheap because I thought we get twice as much.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. So tonight we're drinking the, Christy, you say it because you're a Francophile.
Chateau de Camarsac.
Oh, very impressive.
From the Bordeaux region of France.
All right, so let's take a taste.
You guys can look it up when you're there.
And cheers. Thanks for joining us.
Cheers.
Cheers. We have an audience of one this evening, Jeff's lovely wife. So we're cheering hers too. Okay, so I'm going to read you the notes on this. This is a pretty,
I like it.
I'm guessing a pretty French explanation for a wine, but
Perfect.
this is kind of great. It's a structured wine, complex, powerful, round, with a long finish. The color is a beautiful deep purple, and the nose is intense and elegant, bearing fruity and spicy aromas, accompanied by toasty notes. Here's my favorite. This is my favorite part. After a nice attack, the evolution is fleshy and tannic. I was like, what does that even mean?
I love it.
I think it's a mystery writer that wrote
I
it.
know.
Initial attack.
So I'm going to try again. I'm going to see if I can notice the attack and then my evolution here.
Oh gosh, I think I feel attacked.
I think it's actually lovely. It's
I know,
really
it is
nice.
really
I do too.
Yeah, I didn't notice an attack, but I really did
Yeah, I
like
missed
it.
the attack part, but yeah.
Okay, so now we've had a sip of wine. Let's get talking, and I'll start with a question about your latest novel. In Swift Vengeance, your latest novel, private investigator Roland Ford is on the trail of a mysterious killer who is beheading CIA drone operators and leaving puzzling clues at each crime scene. I'm starting to think you have a little thing for beheading, I'm just saying.
Yeah, that it's cropped up a couple times now, hasn't it?
Anyway, Roland Ford has an interesting past as a Marine who served during the war in Fallujah, and that still haunts him. What was your inspiration for this character?
Roland Ford, he's my PI. He's a composite hero for me. Like if I was an artist and got out a sketchbook and wanted to make a hero's face, it would be Roland's. But I'm a writer, so I put him in a book. A current day hero, a guy who's dependable, a guy who tells the truth, a guy who's not overly political or prejudiced against any group or thing, a guy who has generally good morals and enough backbone and capability to back them up. He's kind of what I would look. He's the kind of guy I would want to hire if I needed a PI to do something for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
He's smart. He's tech savvy and he can get information. He knows where to find out about people.
So, can you tell us anything about what he'll encounter in The Last Good Guy?
Oh yeah, I sure can. Yeah, he's going to stub his toe for the first time in a long time on a woman that he really likes. He's a Roland, as you know, is a widower, and he's been a widower for I guess about 5 years when the next book comes out, The Last Good Guy. So he's kind of coming out of his grief a little bit and his state of being stunned with his wife's death, which happened suddenly. It's an airplane accident.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So Roland's coming out of his hole, and he's finding a woman who comes to him in his office in sort of the classic noir tradition,
that's
where the
awesome.
the femme fatale comes into the office, and Roland is aware of this, and he tells you the story. And here she comes, and she's got this story, and he of course has to say yes, I'll try to help you, and he looks at her with both desire and dread at the same time, because he's just afraid that something bad's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That seems like writing the scene that you'd want to read. I mean, that's what I want.
Good, it's supposed to be. I loved writing it. I had a blast writing it.
Oh,
so, yeah.
fun. So when you had written him as a widower, did you know that someone like her was going to come in at some point?
Sure. Somewhere down the line, it had to happen. I mean, that's half of what makes his personality interesting, is knowing that he's missing half of his life, if you will. He's missing his beloved, his peace, who will never come back. Right. And so he's trying to fill that, but not over eagerly, because that's, you don't do that.
Right.
You are discriminating, and you're critical, and you're angry, and all that kind of stuff. So that's him. But when this woman walks in with a job proposal for him, he hopes that he can help her.
That's great.
I know.
I love that.
It's kind of like, remember in LA Outlaws, the Persian scene, it's like, it's classic, but it's really good when you're reading it, you're like, oh my gosh.
We talked about that on the phone.
Yeah.
Well, I talked about it on the podcast, I think.
That was it, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You felt like you were talking to us, didn't you?
I did. It's like a conversation.
Jeff's a Game of Books podcast fan, I've been told.
Yes.
Same.
Yes.
Okay. So anyway, at this time, we usually like to do a little bit of an interesting thing. We do a carafe question.
No, I don't know anything about this.
No,
I wasn't briefed
yes.
on
We,
this.
Okay.
we did
Okay.
withhold.
All right, so they are fun questions, and you can
Easy.
always,
This is an empty carafe, but we pretend it's glass.
and you can pass if you don't like this one, because as you can see, we have a few.
All right.
So let's
Well, who writes these, just out of curiosity?
So,
we kind of come up with them together, and also
they're inspired by a game my family likes to play called Table Topics.
Ah.
And it's a game, at sit-down meals, especially lengthy ones, we like to go around the table and ask questions like this. So,
Okay.
welcome to the family.
Cold winter's night sort of thing. It just keeps going
Yeah,
on
it's a
and
South
on.
Dakota game.
Okay, yeah, South Dakota game. Perfect.
Okay, so what product have you been tempted to buy? Something you saw on an infomercial.
Oh, yeah.
I
Pick
guess
up
we
with
need-
something.
Oh, something.
Have
Okay.
you ever seen something on an infomercial that you've been tempted to buy?
Well, yeah, gosh.
And have you? I really wonder.
That's the follow-up
any-
part. We might have to ask your wife this question.
Yeah, that might be better for her. But I mean, anything that Joan Rivers used to sell, I wanted. Didn't you?
The jewelry, is that what you
Quality,
used to sell?
values, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Now you're wondering where all those gifts came from.
We have had this problem in our family a couple times, but it was when we had young children and we were up in the middle of the night,
Oh.
And at the time when our kids were young, that was all that was on in the middle of the night.
Right.
Was infomercials, and my husband would confess a few days later that he had ordered some totally random, crazy thing. It was like,
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I must say I haven't done that yet.
all right, let's try another little sip of wine here. It's our little
Okay.
wine break.
All right.
Okay, and it's my time for some questions now.
Unless I think of something. I might jump in.
Right, for sure. Okay, so today I heard you speak about writing Laguna Heat, and I had no idea that you rewrote that as many times as you did while working a day job. I mean, you still had a full-time job.
I did, yeah.
And I find that very impressive, the tenacity that you had to keep going back while you were doing that. So, and most writers do have day jobs, right? So
Yes.
my question is, what advice do you have for writers that have day jobs and trying
Yeah.
to get it done? And
It's
You could
tough.
probably tell
That's
the listeners
it's-
a little bit of this story too, because you
Yeah.
did rewrite.
yeah,
several
tell
times.
everybody the story quickly
Okay,
about that.
so today, what I was talking about today,
Yeah.
my first book was Laguna Heat, and I started that book when I was 24, and it was published when I was 30, and during those 6 years, I rewrote the book 5 times. And I threw the
Literally.
whole entire 500 pages away at the end of each year, knowing as I read the book that it really wasn't good. It wasn't ready yet. And so I rewrote it 5 times, which is a lot. And the book grew immensely during the time I was doing that. And so at the end of that time, I actually finally had a manuscript that I believed in, And but it was hard. Those are the hardest years of a writer's life when you're
man.
supporting yourself one way. I was a newspaper reporter for most of that time, and then a technical editor, another paper pushing sort of job for the rest of that time. And so that left me with after work when you're tired,
Right.
weekends when you want to goof off, and holidays, But I was just very, very stubborn, and I wanted to write a good book, and I knew that was what it was going to take. And I also didn't want to be a starving artist, so I always kept my day job because I wanted to have. I want to be able to have a little car and
Right.
Yeah.
eat and
Right.
stuff like
all the normal
Insurance.
stuff.
normal stuff,
Yeah.
insurance, right? All that good stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember one time driving to work. Newport Ensign newspaper was close to my work, to my apartment, and a little apartment and a little car and a little paycheck. And I remember one time you had to take the ferry across from the island where I was living to the peninsula, to the coast highway, to the newspaper. And one Friday, before I could cash my paycheck and stuff, I couldn't get to the bank, and I didn't have enough money to put gas in the car, so I had to leave the car on the peninsula and walk back to the ferry and take the ferry back across to my apartment because I was broke.
Oh,
And
wow, yeah.
being broke is no fun, and I didn't like that. And
No.
so I continued to work as a reporter and a technical editor as long as I could just to pay for the basics.
Right. And really, you didn't have, I mean, most people don't have the option to say, I'm going to quit and, write my novel for,
Right.
No,
you know?
I didn't. I didn't, and I didn't have a family. I mean, think if you're a mom or a dad and you're trying to get launched in a literary career plus make some money for the household. Tall order, and a lot of people here at SleuthFest are in that position.
Right.
They're people who have obviously they have lives and they want to write, and it's like, when do I do it? So squeeze it in.
You squeeze it in.
Yeah, I mean, the only good advice that I can really give that I think is true and would work is that really, if you can find an hour a day of your own time, if you can find enough in one day to write a page in a day, that's a 365-page manuscript at the end of a year.
That's
a
true.
page a day, it's tough, but it's not impossible.
I know, that's a good way to take it too.
It is,
it
is.
Because it's not like when we tell our kids, clean the entire room. We're like, no, clean this section first, okay? And
Well,
then they
that's a
can
fair
maybe
point,
do it.
if you think about it in chunks. I mean, because it's a daunting task. Like you said today, maybe you'll have a great day where you're feeling really good and you've written a good sentence or a good paragraph, and you feel so great, but then you think, I have got to do this times thousands of, and then I got to go to work tomorrow, and I've got kids to put to bed, and
It takes the long view. A lot of writers, a lot of people are prone to. I want to be successful, and I want to be prosperous, and I want to be rich and famous by this time tomorrow.
Right.
And it just for writers, it just doesn't work.
No.
It's not like gambling.
it's not a quick.
It takes forever.
Yeah.
So.
I know.
And like I had said earlier, that I just thought that was such a tenacious example of you just every year going, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it again.
Yeah.
I know. Not many people. I don't know if anybody can do that.
I can't.
Well, I'm stubborn.
You are unique.
That's impressive. And you stuck with the same story.
Yeah.
I did.
I know. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Because it came out good. And we got an HBO movie.
It
about
worked.
it.
Yeah. And every year I saw it getting better, but I knew at the end of those early years that it wasn't good
Right.
enough. So it's kind of
Well, that's good that you could tell that,
Yeah, you've got to put the
Right.
critic's cap on sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I did a little research, and I had read an article about you giving a talk at SleuthFest maybe 5 years ago-ish, and it was a Writer's Digest article kind of recapping and how you talked about writing a novel as a road trip.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was a great analogy.
Cool. Yeah.
But one of my favorite parts of it, actually it intimidated me, so that's why I'm asking, but was when you said you finally have to stop and decide on your destination, and you need those 24 words.
Mm-hmm.
Do you really do that for every novel before the novel each time?
At some point during the writing of the novel, I will have to do that. And I'll have to clarify in my mind what the simple, straight through line of the novel is. Because, as you know, there are so many different ways you can go. Mm-hmm. When I come to the endings of my novels, I can look at sometimes a half a dozen, 10 really good quality endings that might work, that they're logical and they're okay and they're a little bit surprising, but you gotta pick the right one. And so that 24 words or less, when you have to be able to synopsize the story and limit for yourself what you're doing and choose the best of those paths is part of the work. That for me doesn't come before I start. It comes during the writing, when I figure out slowly what this book is really about.
Right.
So you've started and you've done your research and you've.
Yeah.
But then at some
So
point
are you
you
a
have to.
pantser or a plotter?
I'm a pantser. Yeah, I'm a pantser, but I
Until
always
a
start
point,
with an outline, because the publishers want them.
Yeah.
So I write an
Oh,
outline.
really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
yeah.
interesting.
And sometimes it's just a page. Sometimes it's more, and I always give them whatever they want. But I always work hard on them, because anything you can do as a novelist, a writer, ahead of time is good.
Right.
Good. Ahead good. Planning's good. But it's impossible to plan a 500-page book for me. So, I plan what I can, and then I say what I can in my page or 10-page synopsis, whatever it is, for the publishers. And then I try to stick to it, and I'll stick to that plot, that plan for the story as long as I can until it absolutely goes up in flames. and then
We've got to make a different turn.
I got to do something better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That was really interesting. I like it. So one more question about today. So you left everybody. Jeff gave a keynote address today at SleuthFest, and you left all the writers with such a positive message.
Oh, good.
And I was hoping you'd share that with our listeners as well.
Good.
A lot of which are writers.
Well, I thought about that a lot, what to say to writers who are, you know, the same as me and doing the same thing I was doing X years ago. And I think that the biggest enemy for writers is twofold. One is that the publishing world in New York of agents and writers and high-powered, you know, international conglomerate houses and stuff is intimidating, and it is, you know. And I think that the antidote to that is to realize that those publishing houses need us. They need us writers badly. We're the ones who make things happen. You know, they're in the skyscrapers, but because of us. And so publishers and agents need us, and they need young writers and of all ages, you know. And the other thing that I think is important to remember is to get you through your workday, your 5 pages a day, whatever, like you're talking about, is that writing should be fun sometimes. It's not fun all the time. It's not fun a lot, but it's fun a lot too. And when you can craft whatever your standard is, whether it's you get a page you like or a sentence that you like, or, you know, a character walks into the room, you didn't know what she was going to say, and she says something really good, you know, makes your day.
Mic drop in my office alone.
Yeah, and it keeps you in it for those 365 days when you come into the house and you from your office and you put down the one page that you wrote that day. Well, guess what? A year from now, today, it's 365, and it's cool.
Yeah.
The fun helps.
It is. I think it's fun too.
I thought that was such a great message, and especially today when all these writers have great opportunities to pitch some fantastic agents who are here, and you could cut the tension. You know, those writers, I might have been one of them feeling the tension, you know, sitting there preparing to meet with the agent. And so I thought that was so nice to remind everybody to have fun.
I hope it rang true I'm glad it rang true for you. So,
yes.
Yeah, it really did. It really did.
Great.
Okay, fantastic. We are so happy we're sharing this conversation. I know we've got one more question that we like to ask for all of our mysterious foodies, as we call our listeners.
Okay.
This is an easy one.
Okay.
So, which of your characters in all of your lengthy number of books would you like to share a meal with? Tom Straw, shut your ears. You're not supposed to hear this.
Which of my characters?
Which of
One of your characters, and what would it be?
Oh, gosh. What would it be? I think... I don't know. I think I would like to share a dinner with Mike Finnegan, who's a small red-haired man closely related to the devil. and I think that the dinner I would like to share with Mike Finnegan would be a rare steak and Bombay gin martinis up with a twist. I think we could communicate.
Oh, that sounds...
After
okay?
drinking the martini, I love that. That is awesome.
sounds great.
My wife's just shaking her head.
She's like, keep dreaming, keep dreaming.
That is an awesome answer.
Yes,
That's not even a fair question, really. No. I mean, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
It's fair, but it's tough.
But yeah.
We like to talk about food and wine, so that's what we like to talk about.
Yeah. Anyway, so just to recap, we've been talking with T. Jefferson Parker, and you can go out and get his current book, Swift Vengeance, and pre-order The Last Good Guy that comes out later this summer.
I checked on Amazon today and other sites, and you can pre-order right now.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Good.
We made sure of it.
Yeah.
We did our research.
Okay, so Jeff, if which a lot of our readers are going to want to reach out and learn more about you and your books, what's the best way for fans and other writers to connect? Facebook, website, what do you...
I'm kind of a website guy still, you know. I have a Facebook page, but I'm not on it much, to tell you the truth. Website for sure. And I have a contact me sort of email address, and I always answer those. I get them, and I answer them. So I'm easily gettable on the web, just through email. And
That's really cool.
I'm open. Yeah.
Okay.